Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another Maybe Monthly vlog. Today we'll be talking about the questions you guys left me on the last video, the last vlog video for the Q&A, and then we'll be choosing the giveaway winner. We'll do that at the end, of course, suspense. And I'll reiterate this later, but at the end, but when we do the winner, I'll pull up a screen and we'll randomly choose somebody. And I will comment on your post, so I'll comment tomorrow after, well, I'm recording this, but you'll see this tomorrow. So today, shortly after this video is published, I will comment on your post with my email address. I'll need you to, and I'll say this at the end, I'll need you to email me a screenshot of you logged into YouTube with this username and all that stuff. And once I can confirm that and we're good, which should be fine when you send me the email picture. I just need proof that that's you on YouTube that I'm responding to. And again, I will tell you in this video, that's how you'll find out. Send me the screenshot of you logged into YouTube, and then after we're good with that, we can talk about what you want. So we're gonna, like I said before, it's gonna be legendary or champions related, and preferably I was gonna just order a few things for you from Game Nerds, Card House, Miniature Market, whatever. So, you know, and it has to be domestic because shipping. So that's really all that is. If you're in any of the Marvel Legendary Facebook groups, I'm on those too. I don't post anything. I haven't in a very long time. But feel free to reach out to me there instead if you want to do that instead of email. We can sort it all out. And yeah, we'll get into that towards the end. But thank you guys so much for all the support. It's been a crazy long time. It's been, I don't know if you guys have gone back to my old stuff, like my very, very old stuff. A lot of you guys have probably joined me since I started doing Legendary, which was, when was my first playthrough published? And even then, it was just like, here's a random thing I did. My first playthrough for Marvel Legendary was published, I mean, it had to have been 2018 or something. Where is it? Okay, hold on. I don't know how to use YouTube. Oh, nope. I really don't know how to use YouTube. Where's my playlist? That's keywords. Oh, here we go. So the very first video was published 6 years ago on January 12th, 2018. So,
here at Noble Knight.
There's an ad. A lot of you guys have probably been with me since then, but I've actually had this YouTube channel since November of 2007. So I've had this channel for a very long time, and I never thought that, I mean, 1,000 is like nothing for a lot of people, but it's a lot to me because this is just me sitting here talking about playing games and you guys are watching it. So, you know, I appreciate it as always, and we've just had a lot of fun with everything. And again, I say this every time, but I'm super appreciative of all the people joining in to watch the other stuff because I like playing other games, and I you know, and it's all fun to me. So thank you guys so much for all that. In the last month since the vlog, before we get into the questions, I quit my job and got a new job. So there was a huge transition in my life. My last job I was at for 7 years. On the particular team I was on there for 2, but the company I was with for 7 years. And the day after my 7-year anniversary was my last day with that company. So almost completely exactly 7 years I worked at that place. And so this has been my first week at my new job. So it's been a lot of just stress and like it's not sleeping well and just kind of sorting stuff out because it was a big life decision. But it should be better. You know, ideally, it's to better me, and everything seemed like it was going to, and it's been great so far. So hopefully it's all good. Should be good. But that's been the craziness of the last month. So I appreciate you guys' patience with me. We've put out a lot of stuff since then, but you know how it is. Just life happens crazy. This is my weekend. Hopefully. This thing is heavy, by the way, and this is just the standy version, but this is my weekend. Anyway, enough of that. Let's just get into it. So we're going to go through the questions first, and then after we go through the questions, we'll choose the winner. And I'm just going to start at the bottom. First question, and we'll just go up. I usually try to respond to you guys when you guys send comments and put comments in the videos. I try to respond as best as I can. I always read everything. I will heart it because I've read it, and I appreciate every comment. I appreciate everything, critical, anything positive, anything to make this better for all of us. I'm down for it. So I didn't respond to any of these because I wanted to talk about them, So we'll just start from the bottom, and then we'll go to the most recent. So the first question here is from at Talonbreak. Sorry. If you had to pick your favorite setup for Marvel Legendary, what would it be? Each individual choice. So I'm actually interested in what you guys think of that too. This was really hard for me because there's a lot of options. And it really comes down to like when I can get my deck to be like a well-oiled machine. Like there's no gray cards. I'm drawing everything, or like basically every turn I have no discard pile because the whole thing is out. Kind of off the top of my head, we'll kind of just like construct it here. So some of my favorite masterminds are ones that like while they aren't like the hardest thing ever, they're not a pushover. Right? They're not Doom. They're not Red Skull's the ultimate pushover. So like some of my favorite masterminds will probably say like Mysterio, right? He's 8 health or 8 attack, right? He's not particularly strong, but he's also not particularly like you have to just fight him a ton. So it's like you have to get 8 attack like potentially 9 times. So he can be challenging because it's like a test of stamina, right? I also like Spider Queen a lot because again, not particularly hard, but not super easy. Loki kind of fits in that too. I think Loki's my favorite of the base set. Although I do like Doom, I guess. Maybe not pushover. Who's the other one? Magneto. I think Loki's probably my favorite because he's just like 10, strong, like kind of upper there, but not too complicated, not like super punishing. But I probably like, and there's so many masterminds, it's just really hard to think about like off the top of my head. I do really like that new Sinister Six because it's just like kind of changes up and gives you 6 tactics, and it's changing. The adapted masterminds are fun just because you got to kind of change your plan. But I think by and large, I'd just say Mysterio, just a good solid choice, just really fun, can be put with any scheme. I like transforming schemes a lot because transform is my favorite keyword in both the hero fashion and the scheme fashion. I also like the unveiled stuff, which just gives you another thing to kind of anticipate. I also really like schemes that add stuff to the villain deck. It's not so bad now since the rules have been modified to not make you draw after the Master Strikes. They're much less punishing. But like a goodie for me is the Killbots one. That one is fun because it's just like here's a bunch of bystanders in there. They're going to get strong, but there's just a ton of stuff in there. So I'd say that. So we'll go Mysterio, replace Earth's leaders with Killbots, which can be sort of thematic. Villain group. I don't know about the villain group. There's so many options. So just from an aesthetic standpoint, I really like Underworld because there's like vampires in it, and I just like vampires. But really, yeah, we'll go with Underworld. I just like them a lot because of the vampires. I'm trying to think if it's. I like the What's the monster group from Champions? Is it Monsters Unleashed? I like them a lot too because they have all the size changing, and so it's like you may have to like something to deal with it, but you might not. I don't know. I just like them because they're goofy. So one of the two of those. And then henchman groups, Sentinels are my favorite. I can just KO stuff. Anything that lets me KO something is great, but I like Sentinels. I like Mandroids a lot because they also let you KO, but they also have that fun thing of getting stronger. So Mandroids are fun. Yes, so probably one of the two of those. And then hero-wise, so again, I like it being just like a well-oiled machine, right? So I'm thinking base Wolverine, Gladiator Hulk. I don't know. Maybe Rick Jones? I like Rick Jones a lot, and I think Rick Jones can fit in anything. But that seems an odd choice. I guess if we're doing that, I don't know. At the end of, like, I like Gladiator, Hulk, and Wolverine a lot because you're drawing a ton of stuff. You've got yellow, and then transform. That's kind of really it. Maybe, I don't know. That's hard. It's really hard because it's almost like I have favorite sets of like certain hero groups together. Like I have certain heroes that I super duper love. Like I like Wasp a lot. The not the MCU Wasp, but the other Wasp is one of my favorite heroes. Miss Marvel is one of my favorite heroes. Silk is one of my favorite heroes. Wolverine is one of my favorite heroes. Like there's just, but like those don't synergize really well together. Although Silk I think works pretty well no matter what. So yeah, so let's just construct this setup. Mysterio, replace Earth's leaders with Killbots. Underworld, Sentinels, Wolverine, Gladiator, Hulk. And is there anybody else that's green, or that's green and yellow? I'm looking on the randomizer. Is there anyone else that's green or yellow? Just for the, it's just to fit into those two, because I want those two together. I know that's probably not the best answer to the question, but who else is there? Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Oh, Agent Venom. I'll throw Agent Venom in there. That team's a lot of fun. That team would be a lot of fun. So, that's going to be it. That would be my favorite setup. Honestly, it's hard though, because the other thing too is I like things that play with the board state, like your expectations. So, if we wanted to push it from that perspective, transforming or unveiled scheme, doesn't even matter which one, because something that's going to change. An adapt mastermind, because that's going to change. I do kind of like a lot of the villain groups, like the ones that will be affected by daylight and sunlight, because stuff changes. What else? But see, I also like too, I don't know. We're going to go with my first answer. Sorry, that's not the best thing. I want to know what you guys think. Like, if you don't have to just get specific. Just tell me, like, your favorite. Maybe we'll do that. I'll do a favorite master. We'll do that. We'll do a favorite masterminds video. We'll do a favorite schemes video. There's just a lot to go through, and there's a lot to consider. And I know whatever I choose, if I pick something, I'm going to find something better later, because I'm going to remember it. That's the only reason. There's just too much content for me to have, like, this is definitively it. So, kind of a cop-out answer. I'm sorry, but that's going to be it. Okay, next question. Looks like at Mr. Giraffe 007, which you've been a long time person that I recognize, so appreciate it. So I know in the past you mentioned you had health issues you had. How's it going, and what made you start the channel? I personally found this channel in 2019 after I got into Legendary, especially during COVID. Your playthroughs helped me get through the lockdown. Every Tuesday, I believe it was, at the time, was a highlight of my week. Well, thank you for that. This was actually a good time for COVID. I'm going to go backwards. COVID was interesting because I think I was already into playing this, and at that point, I was playing this, and I had gotten Alien Legendary, and that was the only thing I played. But I didn't even know I was into modern board gaming then, right? Because it's a modern tabletop game, but I didn't know that I was into them. And so maybe a year after the pandemic, that's when I started really getting into stuff, which I think you can kind of start seeing on the channel, like into 22. It's like end of 21, into 22, I'm starting to dabble. And I know from listening to like podcasts and watching YouTube videos and things like that, people really got into solo gaming during the pandemic. So I think that was a big deal for a lot of people. And I know now it's a huge thing, and it's a bigger thing, and there are solo only games and things like that. So, we play video games by ourselves all the time without an issue. Story mode game, story games, Legend of Zelda, God of War, whatever, Super Mario, whatever. I'm a Nintendo person, so I just named another thing that's not Nintendo. But, people play games, so it's the same thing. It's just you're playing one physically versus playing one digitally. So, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, especially from staring at screens all day and on my phone all the time. This is just something nice to be tactile and, looking at reading stuff and engaging in my brain. So, first part of the question, my health issue. Yes, so back in 2023, which it's only 2024. So March of 23, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I crushed it. I mean, as you can tell, I lost a ton of weight. You can go on my old videos from March 2023 to I've leveled off. So basically from March 23 to like November 23, I lost 50 pounds. And even before then, I probably lost another like 20 or 30 before March from just changing some things. Like I stopped drinking. I used to drink a lot of beer. I was a big beer, like I would track my beers and stuff like that. Like I'm big into Untapped and craft beers and stuff like that. And after a while, I just kind of stopped. Actually, this kind of, and then like I think as a result of that, I ended up drinking way more soda, which I've always loved soda, pop, if you're from where I am, but I got changed another thing to soda. But I really love drinking soda growing up, and so I kind of fell on drinking more of that when I stopped drinking beer. And so I did lose some weight from that, but I'm sure that exacerbated my diabetes. And it's genetic for me. It's in my family, so I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of always pushing off, saying, "Okay, it'll be something else. It'll be sometime else. It'll be sometime else." And then that sometime else came, and I was like, "Yo, I gotta make some changes." So I made some changes, changed my diet drastically. Didn't really change exercise, but I did force myself to take walks and things like that. And yeah, basically mostly through diet, I was able to lose all that weight, and now I'm pretty steadied off, and I'm like probably the healthiest I've been as an adult. So since I was 18 years old, I've probably been the healthiest I've ever been. So much so that this is kind of getting into like the weeds of it. If you don't know, because I didn't know this until literally March of last year, what your what an A1C is. I don't even know what it stands for, but it's the thing that monitors your blood pressure or blood sugar, and if it's a certain point, you're pre-diabetic, and if it's an even higher point, it's you're diabetic. And so when I was diagnosed, my A1C was 10.7, which is a lot. As of February of this year, it was 4.9, which is someone who doesn't have diabetes. So basically my body doesn't think I have diabetes. So for all that to say, I'm healthier than I've ever been. I feel great. I have you might have seen her in a couple videos, but I have one of my dogs. She's a pit mix. So she's not the one that you see, but she might be in the background occasionally. She's 50 pounds, and I was basically carrying that inside of my body. To think that I was carrying that much of a being inside my body because of the weight that I had, it was just kind of crazy to think about in retrospect. So for all that to say, I'm doing really well. And it's just keeping on. So, and then it says, what made you start the channel? So I think I mentioned earlier, I've had my channel since 2007. So in March 2007, it was spring break, and I learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And I actually don't have one with me, ironically enough. I learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And the fall of 2007, I entered my first Rubik's Cube competition. This was down the street from my dad and brother's house, and we went. My brother and I competed, and we recorded some videos. And I said, hey, let me upload those to YouTube. So that was the start of the channel. For years, uploaded Rubik's Cube stuff, speed cubing. Here's a big cube right here. I've got a Megaminx here. I play with these still. My main 3x3s at work. I'm officially retired from speed cubing as of 2018. But from 2007 to really hardcore until about 2013, I solved Rubik's Cubes competitively. It was late high school into college, and I was really good. I mean, relatively speaking, I did really well in the Midwest. And at one point, I had the 6th fastest solve in North America. It was the 4th fastest solve in the United States. It made me 24th in the world. It was a 9.93 in 2010. I think it was 2010. That is nothing now, but at the time was a pretty big deal. In 6x6, the first year that this puzzle was official, I think I was 8th in the world. Again, it was really slow, and that doesn't sound, it's not as impressive as it sounds. But I started doing cubing, and then into my senior year of high school, I got into playing. I got an Xbox for Christmas and got into playing a lot of Call of Duty. So there's some old I did have some Call of Duty videos of me recording playing with a capture card. I think I ended up making a whole separate channel and added a bunch of Call of Duty videos on there. And there's some random Call of Duty videos on a YouTube channel. In the depths of YouTube, you can find it. And I even got featured on like a top 5 for like sniper stuff because I was love playing with snipers. So I'd run around with snipers and try to do montages and stuff like that. And then I kind of came back to cubing a bit, did that a little more seriously in the mid 10s to eventually when I stopped in 2018. And just because I became I became irrelevant. Let me put it that way. Got older and just couldn't keep up. So that was basically it. I kind of didn't really do a whole lot of stuff in between then, I don't think. I'm trying to go back and see. I don't know. But I did a lot of like Smash Brothers stuff. I tried to do some stuff like other video game stuff because I was super into, I mean, I still am. Haven't played a lot, but like a lot of Smash Bros. On Wii U. I did some stuff for Breath of the Wild, and then when Ultimate came out, did some stuff for that. But then really where it came down to was in the so it was just before Christmas of 2017. A buddy of mine was telling me about this game, and he was explaining to me, and I was like, okay, cool, some game with Marvel characters, whatever. And so he had me over to his apartment. We played. I'm like, this thing is awesome. Like, this thing's amazing. And so, yeah, there's some. Oh, I have some Fortnite stuff in there. Remember that good old thing? So I actually have Fortnite. I have Smash, and I have Legendary. All kind of intermingled about 6 years ago. A lot of Smash stuff and a lot of cubing stuff. But there was a big gap. There was like a 3-year gap between uploads of cubing stuff to some Smash Brothers stuff. And then have I been uploading? And I've been pretty much uploading something every year since then. So there was a bit of a gap, but yeah, so I got introduced to Marvel Legendary in like sometime in 2017. And I remember that I got on Amazon and I ordered the core set off Amazon around Christmas time of 2017. My first playthrough on the channel, like I said, was on January 12th of 2018. And February of 2018 was the first brand new set that I bought. It was Champions. That's when it came out. And I think, I want to say by the end of like March, I had everything available. I had every single thing, I think with the exception of villains. But everything up to that point I had available. So I went in pretty hardcore. I found like, I went on every single site I could. Like, it was Cool Stuff Inc. was selling stuff. Miniature Market. I did a lot of stuff for the two of them to just fill everything out. And then I just went where I could. Like we drove to this local board game store at like 7:30 at night one night. My partner and I did, and I just picked up X-Men. Just like randomly picked up. Like, I was just grabbing everything I could. So I want to say within 4 months of like core set to that 4 months, I had everything. And so that's probably like the main thing is I like saw the YouTube channels of like, you know, Dice Tower and whatever, like reviewing the sets, and I just like looking at the cards, but I didn't have any concept of, I was just like listening to them talk about the sets and what they did. But at the time, there wasn't a lot of stuff, right? Like, I think you had random playthroughs here and there from channels that were bigger and kind of focused on all kinds of games. But I love the game so much. And this was my first introduction to deck building. This is going to be a long vlog video if I'm going to get in these questions the way I am. Obviously, this is my first introduction to deck building, and I played a little bit of like Pokemon TCG. I did a tiny bit of Magic, but I was really into Yu-Gi-Oh! In like middle school and into high school. I like to the point that like there was a couple locals I would go to. I felt like I was pretty good at the game, and I like putting decks. I love card games to this day. That's why I love Imperium. I love Champions. I love Legendary. I love, you know, I was going to say Aeon Zen, but like Astronauts and Skytier. And I love card games so much. I just think there's a lot of fun with cards. So the idea of playing what feels like a card game, like, you know, a trading card game where you collect these cards and you do this thing, but fighting against something that's like automated, where you're not having to have somebody there the whole time. I would two-hand essentially like my decks of Yu-Gi-Oh! Test them out. I would literally have 2 decks, play myself with both decks to get them to work when I was younger. So I was doing this before I realized it. And so there wasn't a lot of content for Marvel Legendary in the way that I like to see it. And that's what most of my stuff is. Now it's a bigger thing, and there's a lot of channels out there, and there's channels that do solo and two-handed and all that stuff. And it's great because the more that there is, the better. I think the more resources for everyone, the better. And so now it's just kind of everybody's doing everything. But at the time, a lot of it comes down to I haven't seen this. I can't. It's like the kid in class that like is afraid to ask the question, but it's like you know that if they're thinking it like someone else is, so just go ahead and ask the question, right? That was my thing. I'm sure other people want to see this. I'm not the only one because I'm looking for it and it's not there. So that's really the modern era of my channel really started with that. I wanted to see more, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So hopefully that answers your question. Hopefully I won't take that long for other questions. Okay, so next question is from James N5481. Your channel is one of the first I found when I was looking for playthroughs for Marvel Legendary, and you used your videos to help comprehend some of the rules that made it easier when playing through like Fortify. Well, I'm glad. Do you think the Stanley Bystander from the 3D set will ever be officially released? I'm hoping it would because I got into the Legendary 3 stuff was overpriced. It's come down a lot since one of the expansions added the new content except one Stanley Bystander. Love the content. Look forward to seeing in the future. Yep. Oh, in particular, other non-Legendary games. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I don't know. I don't know how logistics work. I don't know how, using an IP for a product. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't know licensing. I don't know any of that stuff. It does not make sense to me that Upper Deck, and again, I'm ignorant to the entire thing. There could be an easily explained thing, and I'm just stupid about it. I do not understand why Upper Deck cannot produce these things in a way because people want them. I don't know that the Stanley card will be available. What I would like to, what would be nice is if they could do as a promo and just be like, here's a promo, maybe even alt art or something. If you could even Gen Con and just do a promo for it or something. Do something to get it into people's hands. And I don't know if because Stan Lee and it's like, it's him as a person and there's like estate stuff because he's passed away. I don't know any of that stuff. But my guess is that anything that's holding them back from reprinting other stuff is likely holding them back or maybe somewhat related to holding them back on maybe issuing this stuff. And even to the point of like, they put Circus of Crime and Spider Slayers and Man-Thing and Howard the Duck in a set. I don't know why the Stanley card wasn't put in there. I ended up getting mine online from I think I just found it online and bought it. And I ended up getting, because I have the 3D of Man-Thing and I have the 3D of Howard the Duck as well. Because I just got those because it's like I couldn't get them any other way. So I managed. I don't think I spent anything exorbitant on them. But I don't know. I just wish, if I had one wish, it was that everybody could get what they wanted for this game. Because there's so much stuff, and as someone who is needs it all, like a completionist, it's a bummer. Because if I were getting into this game now and I knew I couldn't get everything, I wouldn't play it. Because I couldn't get everything. And I feel like I'm missing out on part of the game, and I wouldn't even want to interact with it. And I know that's kind of some people don't operate that, and some people are fine with having what they can get. But I'm to the point of like, if I can't have all of it, I don't want any of it. Which is why I didn't get into Aeon Zen, because it seemed like it was too much. And why Astronauts was this huge thing for me, because it's like, okay, I'm starting over. Same thing with Champions. Like if I got to the point of wanting to get into the game, and I could not get Captain America and Doctor Strange because they're out of print, I wouldn't have done any of it. I know that's crazy, but that's just how my brain works. So I don't think they're going to reprint it, but I'm hoping they do. Especially after the stuff with Dark City and with Civil War, how they messed up the printing and then they're like, we're not going to do it again. Like, that is devastating to people that have been waiting forever for them. And I know when I got into the game, the Fantastic Four set was hugely, like, unavailable. And I don't think I realized it super duper until a little bit into it. And I think at that point it got reprinted. And I was like, okay, I'm cool, I got it. But, yeah, I don't think they're going to do it, but I hope they do. So, and not just for your sake, for everybody's sake, because it just is unfortunate that you can't go on and get something. Because it's like we want to spend the money for it and we just can't get it. Okay, so we have, Karthik Seti. Came for Slay the Spire, save for Champions. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. At French Bolt. Congrats, you deserve it. I live in France. I've got some questions. Okay, so choose only questions you want to answer. We'll answer all of them. Do you only play Champions and Legendary for your channel, or do you have outside games for your own personal fun? I love your videos and hope you won't get bored one day to them. So Legendary, played the brakes off of it forever. Like by the time I made my first YouTube video, I probably played it like dozens of times because it was a thing I could play by myself. Like, that was huge for me. I played a ton of Legendary. Like, I've probably played thousands of games of Legendary. I only now really play it for the channel because there's so many more games I'm into that it just makes it to where, like, if I want to play other stuff, like, I'm guaranteed to play at least 52 games of Legendary a year. Now, if you have a bunch of games, like most people, like some people are just have like a handful and that's all they play. A lot of people have like hundreds of games. Playing a game 52 times a year is a lot. So that to me is like sufficient. I would say the thing I need to work on is probably like maybe playing with the new sets before I do videos. Usually I just like, here's the video. I'm recording my playthroughs. Like, they're blind to me, which is a bit of fun in that. But typically, no. I only play Legendary for the channel. Occasionally, here and there, I'll get kind of, I'll like, it's a comfort food for me. So I'm like, okay, like, I don't want to, I just like, let me hit the randomizer and just to kind of do something. I'll play like 2 or 3 games because I'll have it all set up. I'll do that occasionally, but really it's not. It's mostly for camera. Champions, went through the same honeymoon period, played it a ton. Like a ton. And then when a new set comes out, like when the boxes, because I was playing through all the boxes of the campaign, so I was doing all those obviously off camera. But from when I started playing Marvel Champions, I'm trying to find it on my BG stats. I've played Marvel Champions 249 times since November. So if that tells you anything, I played a ton out of Marvel Champions. Marvel Champions is now a little less relegated to playing only on camera, but that's another one where I'm like, okay, I'll find a deck and I'll play it like I'll play like 2 or 3 villains with that deck. Or I'll make a few decks, play one villain and play like 2 or 3 decks against that one villain. Like, I'll do some of that sometimes to kind of just get a feel for stuff. But really that's leaning more towards like, again, of the hundreds of games, if that game's getting played 52 times a year, that's a really good number of games being played. If you have over 100 games, and I have over 100 games. So that's a really good hit rate in general. And that game will get more plays just because campaigns will come out. So, but most of them right now are just for the camera. Okay, so then we have, did you or do you know or / played DC deck building game? So I know about it. I haven't played it. I personally am not a big DC fan. It's only because I don't really like Superman. There's nothing more than that. I've just always been a huge Spider-Man fan as far as I remembered. And I've loved Spider-Man from forever. I really liked Daredevil too as a kid, but mostly from the Spider-Man cartoon. And I really liked X-Men as a kid, but then I kind of fell off of that, especially when the MCU came around and the focus wasn't on them anymore. But I grew up watching X-Men, the X-Men animated series and the Spider-Man animated series. I actually liked Batman Beyond a lot too as a kid, but big Marvel person, so I haven't really looked at or wanted to play any of those. And I don't know if they have solo, because that's the big thing for me. Solo is like the big deal for me. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you prefer Legendary or Champions regarding game mechanics of the villains? So, I'm assuming you mean like villains versus masterminds. I think, and I talked about this in another vlog, about how like what I like the differences about them and what I like about each of them, and where I feel like thematically I think Champions does a better job because the deck it's just that villain and it's that scenario and you're really just focusing on that. But with the specificity of something that unique and that thematic, I think you lose a bit of variety. Not to say there isn't variety, because there's like 50 villains, but like you're not gonna have 200 masterminds. Like, you're gonna have 200 villains in the way. Like having and by and large, the masterminds and Legendary are very different. Like they do different things. They attack you in different ways. They've managed, despite having all these characters, have them feel like you're fighting a unique encounter with that mastermind. I don't know. I think I probably like Legendary a little bit more from that perspective, because just like you can swap out mod sets for Champions, but the variability and like you just have more variables to toggle in Legendary, that like you can have the same mastermind and change everything else and it be a different experience. And not to say that wouldn't be the same thing, because like you have that ability in conjunction with like how the villain's kind of theme is, also whatever the scheme is doing. And there's like, so there's a lot of different components contributing to the varied gameplay that may change the approach how you deal with a particular mastermind. Whereas in Champions, I feel like, I don't know. That's probably not a fair assessment, but I think just comfortably I would say Legendary. Not to say that Champions is bad or anything. It's not. It's great. It's awesome. Champions is a fantastic game, and I love it, and I'm glad I got into it. Okay, did I ask too many questions? No, you didn't. Okay. Your keyword, okay, this is from @JoshG5270. Your keyword videos made a lot more sense than the actual rulebook, which is confusing, especially when you add more expansions in. So thank you for that, and I'm looking forward to more keywords from you soon. Any news on about the Eternals expansion or what the next expansion is and when it's coming out? So I think, so the keyword stuff, I've said this a bunch of times, I promise by the end of the year, they're all coming out. I got to do it. This is me saying it again. Keywords, we're getting them done. I think the Eternals expansion got on hold indefinitely, which is super upsetting, and I hope it comes out. And the next expansion that I think we know for sure is Weapon X. It's a Wolverine-themed one. I think there's 4 heroes, maybe 3 masterminds. I can't remember. I know there's only 4 heroes in it, though, which was unique. So, and that's slated tentatively to October. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed back, but I think probably then. So, yeah. We have Muscle Robo. Want to say I've been watching your content for a very long time. Your playthroughs help me decide which sets look fun for Legendary, and your Solitaire series helped me find cool games I ended up picking up too. Great, that's awesome. Thanks for releasing this latest Spire bid so quick too. I hadn't interrupted Kickstarter yet, and I got to learn the rules from you. I appreciate that. I don't feel like I explain rules all that well, but you know what? I appreciate that they were good enough for you to understand them. A question I have for you is, I know you love Gundam models, but do you enjoy anime in general, or do you have any other favorite series? I spent an arm and a leg getting the Gundam deck building game. Wait, what? Gundam deck building game? Oh, I spent an arm and a leg getting it, and it was pretty fun, but I wish for a Legendary reskin. Yes, that would be... There's a Gundam game? Okay, that's news to me, so I've got to figure that out. I don't know how much anime you spent. Let's see. Yeah, so okay, so I don't know how much you know about anime and manga, but a lot of the most popular manga all run in a single magazine called Jump. Yeah, Shonen Jump. Since Legendary is all about one publisher, my dream would be a Jump reskin. Oh, so Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Yu-Gi-Oh. Yes, I would actually get those as a kid because I was into Yu-Gi-Oh, and while playing the TCG, I was watching the anime, so I kind of got into that. So anime in general, I did a little bit of it when I was younger, mostly Dragon Ball Z. Did a little bit like Yu Yu Hakusho, Gundam Wing a little bit as a kid because that was like the thing that I watched in the 90s. But really it was like, I think I did some Big O, but Dragon Ball Z was like my big deal. And that's like a thing where like you don't even realize it's the anime. And then I kind of fell off of them for a while. And then I got into a couple here and there. And like I couldn't even remember and tell you what they were. I was just like finding things on Netflix to watch. And then I got back into Gundam and watched quite a bit of Gundam. And then like Netflix has done some like original anime series. So like I watched although I think I only watched like the first 2 seasons, like Ultraman stuff I did. So yeah, I'm big into, I'm open to all of it because I think it's an interesting medium for stuff. I watched a decent, like maybe like a season of Attack on Titan, which I know is a newer thing, which that would actually be probably a cool reskin for Legendary. I did watch some Naruto as like the first when it came out. I was into Bleach for a little while. What else is there? I really liked Zatch Bell even for a little bit. And then what's the one where the guy is a kid? He becomes a kid and he's like a detective. I can't remember that one, but I liked that one a lot too. Because Adult Swim would have a lot of them. So like I would just watch whatever was there. But really, I don't watch a whole lot, but I'm not against any of them. Like, and like, oh yeah, like Parasite, because I like horror. Death Note, I did watch all that. So like if it's horror, it's plus for me, and I'd be more interested in watching it. But big fan of Gundam, big fan of big robots fighting. So anything with that is appealing to me. Okay. The next one is @Jason Tomset, INCL7164. I apologize if I say any names wrong. I'm in the UK, so I can't be an entrant, but your videos have always been a bright spot on my Friday afternoons. Is it Friday afternoon for you by the time it comes? You're probably watching. It's probably like Saturday by the time your head. My question is, if you were going to design a legendary set, what theme, hero, setting, stories would you do? So, is this Marvel or is this just legendary as a system? I could pick an IP. Maybe I'll answer both. So if it's legendary, if it's an IP, I'm going Transformers. I think it would be the sickest thing. Transformers or Star Wars. One of the two of those. You could have a lot of content. I think Star Wars would be dope from there's just a lot of cool stuff and a lot of eras you can do, and I'm sure you could do a light and dark track and all this other stuff. Transformers, I just want to transform stuff, and I love robots. So one of the two of those would be like, if I could take that system and reskin it with a theme, it would be Transformers or Star Wars. I'm leaning more towards Transformers, but Star Wars is a close second. If I were to design a legendary set that's Marvel, that I don't think, that hasn't been done, that's tough, because most things have been done. And I don't think I can think of a hero that hasn't really been done. I would personally like to see... so there was the past couple years was that there's an Infinity Warped, and I don't know anything about the story aside from like a bunch of heroes got mixed together. So like there's like a Spider-Man Moon Knight character. There's like a Thor. It's like Iron Hammer. It's like Thor and Iron Man together. There's a Doctor Strange, and it's like Captain America. Doing what if stuff. So not what if. Maybe in a broad sense. So not what if, like Marvel Studios what if, but doing like, so I'm reading right now, actually, one of the comics I'm reading is What If Venom. And so like the premise of it is like Eddie Brock is in the church, and I don't even know how this happens in the comics, but happens how it happened in the cartoon, and I think in the cartoon, but in the Spider-Man 3 movie, he's like, the symbiote's going to land on him on the church, but instead of it landing on him, She-Hulk saves him and is infected with the symbiote, and then she's running around with the symbiote fighting Sabretooth, and then it comes off him and goes on Wolverine, and then it goes off him and goes to Doctor Strange, then it goes to Loki, and now it's on Moon Knight. That kind of stuff would be sick. Like, just give me a weird what-if story. What if so-and-so got the super soldier serum, and it's like, it's Howard Stark with the super soldier serum or something. I don't even know. That, to me, would be more interesting, because then you can merge mechanics of like, okay, Wolverine draws a bunch of cards, and I don't know, somebody does something else, and then now you've got a combo. I don't know. That's probably my thing, is like doing something where it's like, just make it crazy, because we have so much stuff. So that's probably my answer, I would say, for that. And anything that would bring me back Transform. I want Transform back. It's my favorite keyword. Bring Transform back to me. So, okay, water break. All right, Allison2525. First off, congratulations. It's a huge milestone. Good work. Secondly, as far as questions go, have you played Ashes Reborn Red Reigns? If so, what are your thoughts? So I haven't. It's something I've looked into. And maybe you can answer this question for me. Ashes Reborn. So Ashes Reborn is a CCG or a TCG. Maybe it's a CCG. It's a card game. It's a head-to-head. But I think Red Reigns is the solo variant, the solo co-op variant. So you go against a monster. And I think at the time of me recording this, there was like 4 or 5 like bosses or whatever, so it's like quite a bit of variety. The decks that you get for that, do they integrate with like the regular Ashes Reborn? Is Ashes Reborn a game like Magic the Gathering or like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, where there's like a ton of cards and you can make your decks and fight the monsters? Or is like everything in the Red Rain system, is it isolated? Is it like its own ecosystem? So like only those cards would work together to make decks? Because if it's that, I'd be more interested in it, because there's less content to have to get. But I've looked into it. I haven't played it yet, but I'm interested in it as long as it's not too much content. So maybe you can answer that question for me. We are enjoying your Astronauts Eternity playthroughs lately. You've helped answer some questions, plus a lot of fun. Thanks for the content. Here's 1K. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And the Astronaut stuff's a lot of fun too, so I'm glad that we get to do that. Love your content. I've had Marvel Legends sitting in my closet for the past 2 years. But after finding your channel, it's jump-started my love for the game. But hurt my wallet? Yes. Well, it'll do that. I own everything from Marvel Champions and Enjoy your playthroughs as well. Maybe Marvel United next. I looked into that. I heavily looked into Marvel United. It's too much. It's too much stuff. Don't have space for it. And as much as I would love to do it, I should have got into it at the beginning. If I had got into it, there's just too much content. Like, I really would. I seriously was like, how do I logistically make this work? And it's like, it's too much. If I can get it all, maybe, but I felt like between exclusive release for this and promo here and this and that, if I can't have it all, I don't want any of it. So likely not, but maybe a 2% chance. Ashton Joseph 4821. Whoop whoop, love you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. The fan and me. Okay, I've got a request. Maybe a midweek two-handed Marvel Legendary playthrough. Maybe not midweek, but maybe once in a while. So I don't like two-handed in general. Just from a solo board gaming perspective, I don't like managing. So I don't like two-hand when it's managing two separate decks. If it's just like two characters and they're like that's it, and they've got this is they're on the table, that's fine. Going back and forth is fine. But managing two separate decks of cards is just too much for me sometimes. However, it might be fun to do this every once in a while because that way you can, it's just a little bit more is going on and you can kind of focus. Like if we have 5 heroes, you could like one hand can focus on some other stuff. Or so I won't rule it out. Maybe once a month we'll throw it in. So I'll add that in into the rotation. We'll maybe do a two-handed game. I don't think I'll do two-handed Marvel Champions because I really don't know the rules for multiplayer. It's probably not that different, but I just know what to do for solo, so that's all it's going to stay. But Marvel Legendary, we can maybe work that in somehow. So TBD on that. At BMC Gherkin 33, I really enjoyed your keyword playthroughs for Legendary. I have all them saved, so when I'm playing, I can check on. Hopefully you make more of those. I promise I will. I've been enjoying your different gameplays of Marvel Champions, other solo games. Keep up the good work. You'll be 2000 on time. Thank you very much. Gregory Cook 3550, congrats on 1K. P.S. I need the haircut for the summer. Keep it in contact. Thank you. At I don't want to mispronounce your name, but I've talked to you about you before. Congrats. I remember someone across your channel getting the Marvel Legendary. You have 24 expansions. Holy cow. And then I saw your Bond videos and love Champions. And you've been a big help. So it's at Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I am. You know who you are. I'm so sorry I can't say it right. So maybe someday I'll figure it out. But you've been a big help for me in the Legend and the Champion stuff. So I appreciate that a lot. At Nicholas Bacchus 5547, I love your Legendary content. I learned a lot of the rules and keywords from you. Thank you for the time. Okay, I appreciate that. Of course, Dr. Garo, congrats on 1 sub. At Dylan Samples, your playthroughs and unboxing are my favorite to learn Legendary, and I love Slay the Spire. I love Slay the Spire too. That's probably going to end up being a once a month, like in the rotation. And then finally at Steve Oswald 24. Congrats on finding your channel through Legendary content. Look forward to seeing all your videos. All right, it's a lot of me talking. Didn't have there's a lot of comments on there. I appreciate all the kind words. Thankfully, there wasn't any questions, so I got too into it. So yeah, so let's just get into this here. So I'm gonna change screens over here. We're gonna grab. So we'll go up here. Let me just flip this display here. Okay, here we go. So let me grab this here, and we've got a YouTube random comment picker, and we're gonna hit fetch. Anything goes. Let's see what happens here. Continue. All right, we'll pick a winner. All right, so Gregory Cook 3550. I will respond to you. By the time you see this, hopefully you see my comment. I'll comment saying you won, and I'll put my email in there. Send me a screenshot of your YouTube log, like you logged into YouTube, like this, where it says you're logged in or whatever. Send me that screenshot. Oh, look at me 4 years ago. Send me the screenshot of this, and we'll figure out what stuff you want to win. So that's gonna be it. I appreciate again all the support you guys have given me over the past several years. Really over all of this. I mean, it's been a huge fun ride, and I just have a lot of fun with it. And if you guys are having fun, I'm having fun. So I appreciate it. If you guys want to see more like Q&A type things, or you want any more of that, let me know. Also, I reintroduced the monthly challenges. If you guys are into those, let me know and I'll keep doing them. I didn't see as much engagement on those as I was hoping. So if you guys aren't into them, that's fine too. If you want to see them from a, let's see how Warris does, and I don't want to participate, but I still want to see how he does or what the challenge is, I don't mind doing them either because it's fun for me either way. So yeah, I think that'll be it. I thank you guys so much for 1K. Hopefully we'll have another 1K, and maybe if we approach that, we can do another giveaway. And yeah, Gregory Cook, I'll be sending you a message here shortly. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.